scholarship has changed enormously over the past 30, 40 years. You know, Reconstruction used to be viewed as the lowest point in American history. That's what I learned when I was in school in the 1950s, high school, etc. It was a period of corruption, misgovernment, scalawags, carpetbaggers coming down from the north, stealing the money in the south. Blacks were simply too ignorant to understand what politics meant. They were manipulated by white people. So it was a terrible mistake. And eventually the heroes were the Klan and people like that who overthrew these governments and put the better men, the so-called, the upper class whites, back into control. That view of Reconstruction, which, was embodied in the famous film Birth of a Nation, which some of you might have seen, and in much scholarship, was challenged now and then. W.E.B. Du Bois, the great black writer, activist, wrote Black Reconstruction in America in the 1930s. But it really wasn't until the 1960s that scholars began completely dismantling it. I published my rather large book on Reconstruction in the late 80s, which kind of summarized, in a way, the whole new vision of Reconstruction. And today we see Reconstruction as part of this battle for democracy in America. And the tragedy of Reconstruction was not that it was attempted, but that it didn't succeed. And now I didn't get it all into one of the reasons it didn't succeed, but that was the failure to distribute land. That blacks came out of slavery, even giving them political rights, economically, they were still in a position of complete dependence, because people have heard the phrase 40 acres and a mule. They wanted land to go along with their freedom, and the federal government did not distribute land. So most of the former slaves were stuck, so to speak, in this situation of having no alternative but to go back to work on plantations, often for their own former owner. They would now get some wages or they get a share of the crop, but they had no real economic independence. And the failure, you might say, the problem of Reconstruction was the political revolution did not go along with an economic revolution. The end of slavery is an economic revolution, but an even deeper economic revolution to break the grip of the planter class on the land of the South and give an economic foundation to the freedom that the former slaves had acquired. So today our scholarship on Reconstruction is entirely different from what it was 40 years ago. And as I say, I think we view it as a period of a missed opportunity for America. If Reconstruction had stuck, had held, a lot of the problems of the subsequent century, it wouldn't have produced nirvana, utopia. It would have put the country on the road to solving some of these racial problems a lot sooner than it eventually got on that road.